Hello, everybody. Doug Walker here. Without my brother this week, he is out of town, so was unable to see the movie, and we're not able to do a sibling rivalry. But the next time a big movie comes out, we'll do it then. But I know you're hungry for opinions, so this is my opinion on Oz the Great and Powerful. This is Sam Raimi's latest flick. I'll go quickly into the story, just a quick summary if you don't know. It stars Larry Franco as Oz from Kansas. He's a magician slash kind of a con man, like the good-hearted con man. Gets whisked away by a tornado into the land of Oz, which is confusing seeing how his name is Oz. And if this really is a real-world thing, by the way, and it's not a dream, which they're indicating in this one, it's how does Oz really work? How does it incorporate these things? Like, the world will exist based on certain things around this person. It's very confusing, but on top of that, there's a prophecy, so maybe everything was planned from the very beginning. The prophecy of course, the chosen one who will come down and bring order and balance to the land. So Larry Franco lands in Oz, and he pretty much comes across Mila Kunis, who plays one of the witches, and her sister, Rachel Weisz. British sister that looks nothing like her. I think I say that in the bum review, but that's really distracting. They pretty much tell him that he is the chosen one. He's going to bring order and balance. And in order to do that, you need to defeat the Wicked Witch, who's over on the other side of Oz. Go kill her. So he sets off on that adventure, and what a shock, he comes across colorful characters along the way who join him in his quest. And there's a couple twists and turns here and there, not big ones, mainly obvious ones, but, they're in there, and I won't give it away. And actually, the big thing I'll say early on is that, because the movie does look good, and if you're watching it from the beginning with the black and white stuff and the square ratio, which was very clever, and when you get to Oz, if you think to yourself, wow, this looks kind of muted and not as awesome as I thought, wait, there actually is a reason why the Emerald City doesn't look as colorful, and it's the really colorful, really visually, holy shit, this is beautiful stuff is coming. So if you're watching the movie and you get to that point, you're like, oh man, what a letdown. It's like, there's good visual stuff coming. So, hold out for it. But with that said, there is some stuff that's really, really cool in this movie. I mean, not just visually, I think the story in this movie, this is a really good, solid story. Just when I was looking at the problems that I was saying to myself, no, the layout's great. I don't know how much it follows the original book, or even, I know there's several Oz books, I don't know if one was about how he came to Oz, but it's just a good setup, and everything seems to fall into place for when the other movie, The Wizard of Oz, comes along. For the most part, everything really seems to fall into place, from what I've noticed. But still flowed like a good story. So the story, I think, is wonderful. The big part that really, just bombs a good chunk of this movie, really sad to say, the acting's not really good. I'm not really a huge fan of James Franco, but I'll acknowledge he can act, Is it Larry Franco or James Franco? Oh, God, it's whatever his name is. I apologize. It's late. I just got done shooting the bum review. Excuses. Oz. I'll call him Oz. I've seen him act in other stuff, and I'm not a huge fan, but I acknowledge he can act, and he's trying. You can tell he's trying. He's not Russell Croweing it, when you look at him when he's not talking. I mean, when he's worried, he gets the big worried eyes and everything, so he's definitely really trying here. But it's sort of like Leonardo DiCaprio, where I always sort of see this young guy trying to play an older guy, or trying to play something that clearly he's not. And some people can pull it off. I mean, acting's not always easy, especially when you're trying to play so against what you normally are. And here it just doesn't work, and I think a good chunk of the time it's just kind of awkward. He just looks like a young man, trying to play a magician. Which you could argue, well, that's what he is, but his yelling is kind of weird, and he doesn't quite have the charm that I think this character should have. See, I see more like a Hugh Jackman or an Edward Norton in this role. someone that has this real charm and charisma. He's supposed to be a con artist, essentially, and a magician. He's supposed to be an illusionist. And Edward Norton was the illusionist, so that would make sense. So you got that. Rachel Weisz is okay, nothing spectacular. But the one that really, oh man, Mila Kunis in this movie. First, to her credit, it's not the best written character. Like, from a story perspective, it's a good character. Like, oh wow, you could really develop this and make her interesting and complex. But the way it's written, especially in the opening when she suddenly declares her romance for the Oz character, and that she's in love and wants to be his queen, just sort of out of nowhere. Maybe that was supposed to be like enjoyably, awkwardly intentional, where it's like, well, yeah, it's weird that she would do this. That's part of her charm. If that was, man, that doesn't come through the performance. It's the first half of the movie, it just seems like she's not there. I mean, that she'll be saying her lines, but there's just not much emotion in them. And then you get to the point, I don't want to give it away, but she really has to stretch her acting chops. And she has to go to this part in her character that requires a lot, in a sense. I mean, and some people are very good at doing this, some people are very natural at it. And again, she can act. I know she can act. I've seen her in drama, I've seen her in comedy, she is good. She cannot pull this off, and it is beyond awkward seeing her try to do this. It requires a lot of screaming and yelling. Some people are very good at screaming and yelling. But those who aren't look really uncomfortable and really weird, and it's... Ooh, and the makeup on her when she gets into this part is not impressive enough, especially for Sam Raimi. And then they keep her in shadow and they build her up, and you're just like, ooh, what's it gonna look like? And it's not that bad. I'm expecting Green Goblin, I mean, and even that looked ridiculous, but I mean, that was over the top compared to this makeup. And this is supposed to be over the top makeup. Now later, with Rachel Weisz, you see later, they go right back to the great Sam Raimi makeup. I mean, it's like something out of the Evil Dead. It's a quick scene, but it's like, yeah, why didn't they do that? That would have been great. But they don't do it. And the acting, I think to myself that some directors must just have a way of directing that, brings out certain performances. Like I think of George Lucas. Whenever he directs, the performances are usually not that good. And a lot of those people are good actors. Or Shyamalan. Now Shyamalan, a lot of that's the dialogue. It's just not good dialogue. But again, there is sort of this style to the acting that comes out and takes good actors and just isn't that great, turns them into something that's kind of mediocre. Raimi has directed actors and made them good. The one I'm thinking of is Simple Plan. Unbelievable movie, by far his best if you haven't seen it. Wonderful performances. The Gift, he directed that. Wonderful performances. I don't know what happened. It's like as soon as he got into Spider-Man, everything just went really hokey. It's like he went right back to the Evil Dead hokey days, and I don't know if it's a time issue or what, but something about the acting in the movies just comes off as really, I don't want to say stilted, just something's a little off. And I don't know what it is, I don't know how to fix it, but it's never quite right, with the exception of one character, actually two characters. Zach Braff plays a monkey in this, which may annoy some of you. I actually thought it was okay, I thought he did pretty decent. But the other character, this character fucking steals the show, is the little China girl. There's a girl made out of China in this. And just from the moment she appears, I mean, first of all, beautiful effect. I mean, for the most part, it looks like she's there, although they never got anytime they pick her up, it never looks like they're really picking her up. But the reflection on her looks great. The expression on her looks great. The actress that got to play her was great. Anytime she popped up in this movie, it's just like, it's like a Wizard of Oz movie. It's just like, oh, I mean, it's just so likable, this thing. So I was really, really impressed with that, and I wanted to see more of that. There's a scene where, you know, she says she wants to come along on the journey. So now you got Oz, you got the little China girl, and you have the monkey, and I'm like, this is Wizard of Oz. You know, this feels like, you know, Wizard of Oz. You know, not exactly the same, but kind of updated and a different kind of story. And anytime a sword did that, it was doing well. There's a scene where one of the witches puts them in bubbles, you know, and they're going across the sky, the pretty skies, and there's rainbows, and this kingdom, the Munchkin Kingdom, whatever, is in this giant bubble, and it's really pretty, really likable, really imaginative. And anytime they did that stuff, it was great. The parts where it gets really just monotonous and slow is anytime they're doing something in the story where you know exactly what's gonna happen. You know that, you know, when when Oz is going to leave, and they're saying, you can't leave, yeah, I wonder if he's really gonna leave. Yeah, he's just gonna take off, and that's gonna be the end of the movie, right? No, something has to convince him to stay. Or how about when it looks like, you know, it's gonna happen again, and he's going to leave them all behind, and he's the traitor, and they all say, I knew we shouldn't have trusted him, and then you think he's dead, and everyone's moping, and it's really stretched out, and it's just like, dude, we've seen this a million times, you know, and, okay, I understand you gotta do it, you know, sometimes in this story. Like I said, I think it's a good story. I think it's a good setup for a story, so I understand you gotta go through this, but oh, come on, can't you speed it up? I mean, the part where they think he's dead, I mean, people are just sitting there and holding each other and, oh, geez, and look at your wizard, he's dead. I'm like, will you just get on with it? And there's so many scenes like that. And there's one or two scenes where I'll give the movie credit where sometimes the emotional bits do work, like early on. Some of the best stuff is in the opening, when it's black and white. You know, there's a scene where he's having a conversation with this woman who someone proposed to her and they used to have a thing, and it felt pretty good, and it was quiet, and there was no music, and it felt very genuine. There's the introduction of the little China girl, I mean, is just a wonderfully touching scene. And it's so well handled. You know, it reminded me of when the Sandman comes to life in Spider-Man 3. I mean, it's like, in a sense, that's sort of what this is like. You know, it is sort of like the Spider-Man movies where you'll just have these really wonderful, you know, not just visually interesting, but emotionally well done scenes. And then you'll just have others where it just drags so long and it's so slow and it's, you know what's gonna happen and the acting is awkward and weird and so, okay, the bottom line, who would like this movie? If you're a big fan of The Wizard of Oz, you'll probably like the story. If you're not too picky about it, you know, and you're a big Oz fan and you just sort of want to see an Oz-ish movie, you'll like it, okay. If you're looking for some eye candy, you know, and some inventive, I don't want to say effects, but inventive ideas in terms of telling the story, because like I said, the opening is very clever, and the opening credits are very clever. And some of the ideas about Oz are very clever. You know, if you're looking for something that can have very industrious moments, you'll get them. Sometimes you gotta hold out for them, but, you know, they're there. I'd say people wouldn't like it if you're really thinking this is gonna be like the original Wizard of Oz, which I don't know who really is. But if you're thinking like, yes, this is gonna take me right back to my childhood, probably won't. There's too many distracting moments. If you're looking for good performances, don't go here. I hate talking like that because it looks like they're trying, but they just really don't come across. Yeah, it's not really much of an action film. If you're looking for a lot of good visuals, there are some good visuals, but it's not throughout the whole film. Like I said, in some moments they're kind of muted. My overall opinion, I'm very split on it because, like I said, some parts are just so cool. And so, you know, some parts did sort of make me feel like a kid again. Like I said, the introduction of the China girl I thought was very well done. But other parts are just, it's a little too awkward for me. I can't quite say I regretted seeing it, but I regretted seeing lots of it. Like, there's just enough scenes where I'm like, okay, I guess I'm justified that I'm glad I saw it, but just barely. So, yeah, I guess in the future, I want to see Sam Raimi keep trying new stuff. I like it when he tries new stuff and different angles and different ideas. Whatever he was doing in The Gift and A Simple Plan, though, man, he's got to start doing that again, because he got some kick-ass performances out of those movies. You know, and he can direct. I mean, he can do all this. I mean, he's proven himself over and over. But yeah, now we're sort of getting these big budget movies that are supposed to require real emotions, and we're sort of getting the emotions of like the Evil Dead movies. You know, that's not what you need. It's cool for something like Drag Me to Hell, you know, because that was essentially Evil Dead 4. You know, but when you're getting to stuff like this, yeah, something about the performances. Something's got to be stepped up. But, yeah, that's my thoughts on it. Hope everything is well with you guys, and I'll talk to you later.